All right, we're back once again for some algebra, and this is our final review episode where we talk about things that you might have already learned before you started taking algebra. Today, for our final review lesson, we're going to talk about volume. Now, in the last two episodes, we talked about a few different things that deal with distances. We talked about perimeter and circumference, which is the measurement of the outside of a shape, and we talked about area, which is the amount of space in a shape. And now volume deals with 3D objects, and it's the amount of space that an object takes up. So really any 3D object you can find the volume of. So for instance, you could find the volume of my water bottle. You could find the volume of, let's see, what do I got here that we can find the volume of? We could find the volume of, I've got a die right here. So I got a 20-sided dice that I use for different things. So you could find the volume of this. Be a lot of work. You could find the volume of just about anything. But we're going to stick with simple shapes because finding complicated things is really difficult to do. So we're going to start. We're just going to do a couple examples. We're going to do a rectangular prism, a pyramid, and a cylinder. Now the reason we're not going to include a cone is because the cone is very similar to a pyramid, or slightly similar. It's not 100% similar. Oh, actually, it totally is. Okay, so they're pretty much the same idea. So we're just going to do a pyramid for this one to make it simple, and cones are very similar. So I can just talk about them together. All right, so first we'll start off with, let's talk about volume. So volume is the space an object takes up, and for volume, it's important to know that your unit has to be cubed. Okay, so in area, things were squared. In volume, things are cubed because we're multiplying three sections together. It's three-dimensional, so it has to be a cubed unit. Okay, and so for rectangular prisms, it's pretty simple. We're just going to multiply the width times the length times the height. So pretty simple multiplication problem. So just for some quick numbers to make it an example, we can put width be 2, length, how about 15, and then height will be 3. So 2 times 15, that's 30, times 3, that's 90. And remember, our unit has to be cubed. So there we go. That's how you do a rectangular prism. You just need to have the three lengths that are important: the width, the length, and the height. Now for cones and pyramids, you need to know a few things, okay? The first thing you need to know is a way to calculate the area of the base. Now in this pyramid, we have a square. So the area of a square, remember, is just length times width. So that's the area of the base, right? I have it written as a B. So the area of the base is length times width. We need to know the height of the pyramid, and then we have to multiply all of that by 1/3. Now, the same thing applies to a cone. If a cone has a circular base, you would just use the area of a circle as your area for the base, and then you multiply by height and 1/3 as well. It's the same thing. So let's make that happen. Let's say the length and width are 3, and the height is, let's do 9. Okay, so 3 times 3, that's the area of the base, is 9. And we'll multiply by the height, which is 81, not because 9 times 9 is 81. And then we have to multiply 81 by 1/3. So 1/3 of 81 would be, let's see, 27. So that would make the volume of this pyramid 27 inches cubed. Remember, we got to have a cubed unit. Okay? Same thing applies for cones, except we're just going to have a different area because we got pi r squared in there instead of length times width. The final major shape you're going to have to do for volume, usually in an algebra class, is a cylinder. Okay? Cylinders are pretty easy to do as well for volume. So for volume, we're going to do the area of the base, so the area of that circle, and you're going to multiply it by the height. Now let me explain why that is. You can think of a cylinder as just a bunch of really thin circles piled on top of each other. So the volume is just adding up the area of each one of those circles, right? So the area of that circle times the number of circles, which is the height. So area for a circle is pi r squared. So let's say the radius for this one is 6. So we've got 6 squared times pi, and then times the height. We'll make the height, let's make it 20. All right, 6 squared is 36. So we've got 36 pi. And then we're going to multiply 36 times 20. We can do that really quick right here. Who needs a calculator when you already know how to do math, right? All right, 620. Perfect. No, that's not right. Oh, I made a mistake. Boop, 720. There we go. Okay, so that was 720 pi. Okay. Like I've said in the perimeter and the area videos, your teacher might, just to make it easier for you, make it so you don't have to actually multiply 720 times pi. Okay? So you don't have to multiply that out sometimes. It depends on your teacher. Okay? So 720 pi is an acceptable answer to some people, and then other teachers might want you to actually multiply that out. And remember, pi is about 3.14, so it would be approximately 720 times 3. Or whatever if you use a calculator, you can actually figure that out. I'm not going to do it right here on our whiteboard here. I don't have a calculator handy right now. Okay. So remember, volume is just the space an object takes up. You can find the volume of anything, but in algebra, you're just going to calculate the area or the volume of basic shapes. Okay. Now, in case you were wondering, if you do want to find the volume of anything, let me show you how that works. Real quick. Well, I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to explain it to you. So I got my dice here once more. And this dice is a really complex shape, right? It's 20-sided. It's really going to be hard to find the volume of something like this just by using math. So what we could do then is we can find like a beaker from a science room that has the amount of volume written on it. And we could fill it part of the way with water. And then if we put this object into that water, right, this object is going to displace the same amount of volume that it is, and the water level will rise. And if you can measure the amount of volume, or the change in volume in that beaker or graduated cylinder, you can know the volume of a more complex object. And that's because of Archimedes. He was a Greek philosopher, and he figured that out by sitting in his bathtub, and the bathtub overflowed. And then the story says he ran through the streets yelling Eureka. Okay, so there's a little science tidbit in there with your algebra. I think it's important to learn why we're learning about this stuff, and volume can be really useful in lots of different areas. Thank you so much for watching algebra, and we're finished with our review section. So that means next time we're going to be talking about algebra basics, and that'll be a lot of good because that'll really get you going for your class. I hope you learned something from these review videos, and I'm excited to start teaching you the basics next time. Enjoy your day.